Imagine if you could easily find solutions to make your region or city smarter, greener, better connected, more social, and closer to citizens. The Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform can help you access knowledge about the latest policy trends, discover expert-validated good practices from all over Europe, find solutions in our peer review, get tailored support from our expert team. We can connect you with the right people and organizations. Together, we will find ways to solve your region's or city's challenges. Start your policy learning journey today.
Well, good afternoon to our new policy learning journey, this online webinar on startups in the spotlight, which we will have this afternoon for about, we'll be together for about 90 minutes. My name is Luc Schmerber. I'm a thematic expert for Smarter Europe for the Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform, and I'll be with you today with my colleague René, which you can also see on screen. And we have our...
Hello.
Hello, René. And we have our three speakers. You can already see here, we see that Ieva, Mary, and Vaiva, which will be our speakers today. Thank you all of you to be with us. We are looking forward to listening to your presentations. Before that, I will say a few words about how for those of us who are a bit new in our setting, are always newcomers to our events, how it works. So the webinar will be recorded, and the materials will be available after the event within a week or so on our website. So you can get back to it. During the website, you can ask questions. You can use the chat. I see that many of you have already started to use the chat to mention where you come from, to say hello. So don't hesitate to do that. This is the way we will also use for asking questions to the speakers. After each speech, we will take a few questions, and at the end of the event, we'll get back to a panel discussion. Again, we'll take questions. So we'll use the chat for this interaction. This is about it. But you don't have to wait until presentations are over to ask your questions. Just submit them when they occur to you, and together with René, and we'll make sure that we take them. And if there are some questions which we are not able to take, it happens sometimes. We'll do our best to get back to you by email after the event. So this is about the setting. Before we go directly into the presentation, the three presentation, and the thematic of our event today, I will say a few words about the policy learning platform, the Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform, and our services. This is especially, as I mentioned before, because we have always newcomers to all the events, and because also the Interreg Europe program does not offer new calls for projects. You are usually familiar with Interreg in general, and Interreg programs do offer call for projects, which is the first action of the Interreg Europe program. But we have spent all our money. Let's say we have planned all our money with the first call. So no new ones, no new projects. But the policy learning platform services, they remain open to all the potential beneficiaries until the end of the program. So a few words about that. For the projects, you're used to projects. Okay, I will not insist on that. We will have presentations from three representatives of Interreg Europe projects later. The policy learning platform is accessible to anyone interested in regional development policies. Our main target group are policymakers, mostly on the regional or local level. And we offer different policy solutions and expert advice by capitalizing on our community and the knowledge of the project. So here's the team of experts together with our management team. So René and I are also here somewhere on the picture, but there are a bit more of us addressing all the topics: smart, green. You've seen them in the video, governance, and so on. The different services. So we have the knowledge services, which helps you finding policy solutions produced by the project. So those are the good practices on our good practice databases. Different thematic publications, which we as experts produce by building on the results of the project. So we'll show some examples later. So we try to compile those learnings and to deliver them into thematic publications. We have the learnings of the events, like today, the results of the learnings from our workshops, and so on. There's a lot of things accessible on our website. We provide access to people, to our community, through events like today. A lot of online events, but also on-site events. And we also provide expert support through different services like peer reviews, matchmakings, policy help desk. And I will also come back to them shortly. The policy solution, I was mentioning them. Here you can see from our website, the policy. So if you go to the Interreg, to the policy learning platform website, the policy solutions, a lot of good practices coming from the projects, validated, over 100 policy briefs already today, different stories highlighting specific achievements or specific good practices. One of them is the good practice you will hear first from Riga. Is also been published as a story, and the webinar recordings, which I was mentioning. So this is all accessible to everybody. You just need to register to the Interreg Europe community to get the full benefit. We have in our community currently over 20,000 community members, 50,000 organizations, which have met on not all of them in over 180 policy learning events. So also here you can connect with like-minded people by using our website. This is the place, for instance, where we are looking for experts in specific topics where we look into, and so you can imagine that. Well, this is we usually manage to get the suitable expert for almost any relevant policy questions in the scope of the program. The events, you can see them. You can find them from our website in case you do not get a specific invitation because you are connected to the event itself as a project member. So we have this calendar to have a lot of events where you can search for it, so you can find any kind of events in all our project program priorities. So a lot of them monthly. We have monthly thematic webinars, different online events, and I will. Then move to the expert support, which is the closest individual support which you can get from us. So here, when you're not in a project, or even if you're in a project but addressing different topics, you can submit to our team a policy help desk. So this is let's say like a short email. This goes directly from our platform, submitting the policy questions you have. You will get an expert advice, some links, some suggestions where to look for further information, usually within a few days, a week or so. You can have more substantial expert support with our matchmakings. So this is if you are looking within a specific policy challenges learn from good practices available in other regions. You can also submit a request, and we can organize for you an online. Usually, matchmakings are an online meeting, but sometimes they are connected to our on-site events. So we connect you to 2 or 3 representatives from other regions and their good practices, and we moderate. We organize the exchange and moderate this matchmaking so you can learn easily and quickly from other regions. And finally, the peer review, which is a bigger, deeper version of the matchmaking. So peer reviews also address policymakers on a local, regional level who submit to us the policy challenge they are working on. And instead of having an online meeting of 2 hours, we usually have on-site meeting, 2-day events where we come with 4, 5, 6 experts to visit a region, to meet with the local stakeholders working on this policy challenge, and we try to help and to support with the development of new policies. So this is a good alternative to projects, because it's like a bit like a mini project. Between the application and the time we come to your region, we spend something 3 to 4 months working together on your challenge, and you get directly input from different regions. So it's pretty similar to what the projects are doing, but it's in short, and of course not working so deeply, because it goes faster and it's compiled into 2 days. But it works great. It works really well. You will get the material, so you will see the key features of the policy reviews. Here you have some examples. The picture here, I happen to have been part of this one. We were addressing the issue of preventing early school leaving, school dropout on the island of La Réunion in November 2023. So you see us here with the regional stakeholders. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's an alternative to projects. So there is some kind of priority to non-project partners, and especially we can also cover the request from the new countries which have joined the program 2024, like Albania, Bosnia. They are listed in Moldova, Ukraine, and we are starting to get quite some peer review requests from Ukraine. So this enables us to extend the reach of the project of the Interreg Europe program to other organizations. Applications is made also easily. It's a 1-page document, quite fast, directly from our website. We have not stopped counting, but it's 100 plus. We had the 100 peer review in February, so some other coming up this year, around at least 15, some planned, and matchmaking sessions also going on well. So this is for all of you not in projects and wanting to discuss with you specific policy challenges. So please reach out either by coming back to me or René, or to the website if you have the need. But now it's time to dive into the topic of our workshop. So I will shortly mention some facts and figures. It's nothing scientific, but it's just I picked up some numbers which I found this yesterday by looking, and want to look for different for some input on this. You see here, for instance, on the left, the amount of venture capital in Europe. So in 2024, around $50 billion or 50 billion euros, let's say, roughly. News to compare. It's not, of course, it's not like a one-to-one comparison. You probably have heard all of that. This was not an April joke, but OpenAI, it's by itself raised $40 billion in its latest funding round. So it's almost as much as the European venture capital last year, just as a kind of a shock. And this is an extract from a study from the European Patent Office from January 25, looking at the investment landscape in Europe and the United States. And not going into details in the study, but it seems the funding gap, a topic which you probably all have addressed or heard about in your work, is still there in some ways. And this is the place where we are now thematically today, by looking at initiatives which foster private investment into technology-based startups. The topic has been dealt also in our activities in the past month or a year and so, or a year and a half. We have had a webinar, an interesting webinar on setting up regional funds with the support of the European Investment Fund. So you can find the recording on our website. And more recently, we have published a policy brief on equity funding for startups by the end of last year. And we were looking at mostly, it was a way to compile the results of the projects, Interreg Europe projects from the previous program, which had been worked on this topic. And we were looking more specifically in public investment funds, which are looking to stimulate private investment, also fund of funds, co-investment funds, seed and venture capital funds. And we were looking into investment communities like investor networks and other startup festivals, which brings us directly now to today, because the Interreg Europe world is not stopping. The time is going on, and new projects have come, and new projects are dealing with those topics in different ways. Those are the new projects from the new program, which are dealing specifically a lot with those funding issues and and with technology-based startups. Some other projects are addressing the topic, but not as less as a priority. 3 of those projects are together with us. We have a speaker from which of those 3 projects, from which we'll hear in a minute. So we are looking forward probably to producing new policy briefs within a few years, collecting the good practices of those projects. But it's time to come to our speaker today. We have 3 of them. I mentioned before, we have Ieva from Latvia, who will present as a support program for startup ecosystem activities. We'll have Vaiva from Lithuania, who will present us about the Kaunas Startup Awards. And Mary from Ireland about Prep for Seed Investor-Readiness program in Ireland. So all 3 programs addressing this aspects of different kind of events, let's say, ways to support the investment readiness of startups. And I will stop here and give the word to our first speaker, which is Ieva from Riga. Ieva, please, you can start sharing your presentation, introduce yourself a bit more in detail, and start giving your presentation.
Okay, you see my screen and hear me?
We can hear you, and on my side, I'm waiting for the screen. It's black, but I don't know. Sometimes it's lit to me. Now it should be. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Please go on, Ieva.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, as an intro went from Luc, we are part of SKALE2CT project. We are kind of ecosystem partner for that project, and by submitting some of our programs, like a few of them got selected as a good example. So I'm here to tell about those. So quickly about our agency, we are a municipal agency from Riga city, and main goal for us is to attract tourism, investment, and also we work with international marketing. So obviously I work more on investment side, and startups are one of the priority sectors in this area. And those of you who work with the startups know that works a little bit different than, for example, attracting investment into real estate or manufacturing. So what we understood is that for successfully attracting investment and what even that means for the startup ecosystem, there is need to work on strengthening startup ecosystem locally. So the local startups are interested to stay here and not only stay, but thrive and get a lot of opportunities. It also attracts foreign startups, and that altogether attracts also investments, as Luc said before in the intro, like which we are in Europe are lacking behind a bit. So this cross-border investment is very important also for us in Riga city. So here is a very short glimpse of different programs that we have. I will go quickly through some of them. The program that was announced here was the Startup Ecosystem Support Program, as the one for learning for all of us. But I will briefly also touch on the other programs because there is a context in them. So on top of the programs, we also do activities outside, for example, broad delegation to Flash conference because the investors, and especially big investors, probably won't come every single day to Riga, but they will definitely are coming to Flash. So we are going to the mountain, as they would say. And one of the things that we also do that is important, that comes kind of, I would say, before working on any programs, working on any any implementation of any initiative, we have a memorandum of cooperation. And I know that, especially in Latvia, we are like kind of champions in different kind of memorandums. We love signing them, and there are other countries that love signing them even more. But this is actually the one that works. We have 17 organizations that are in Riga city that work with startups on different levels, starting from bigger to smaller and niche organizations. We have some in the pipeline that are joining this year. We 3 to 4 times a year we meet for the bigger meetings all together to share like news and stuff. But what's important, they are our board. Some board of advisors, and 3 main goals is transparency, collaboration, and community involvement. So whenever we work on new programs, update old programs, make changes or decide about going to this or that event, we consult with this members of this memorandum. And when we talk about the main program that was advertised here, it's a Startup Ecosystem Support Program. Here's a brief statistics of 2025, because a month ago we announced the beneficiaries of this program. So we had 17 applicants with 29 activities, and altogether they applied for over 300,000 euros in co-financing. So basically, what this program means is that any startup organization that has experience of more than 3 years doing some activities for a community can apply, and they can get up to 20,000 for one activity. So 20,000 is cap per activity, not per organization. That's why there's more activities than applicants, because some bigger organizations apply with 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever they decide that they can do during this year. So at the end, 17 activities from 12 organizations received 200,000 euro co-financing. That was the total financing available in this program from us this year. And let's say the average was a little bit under 12,000. So some not everyone is just going for a 20,000. It usually goes for bigger events and bigger organizations, because that is co-financing. Still, we are very, very keen on looking for that co-financing, and let's say, as we speak in a startup and investment terms, skin in a game. How we decide which activities are getting the money? There are two very important criteria, and that's impact on ecosystem and impact on the city. And that is something that they need to prove in their application. So they need to explain how this activity will impact the ecosystem, and also how to benefit Riga city. Then, of course, it's qualification criteria, as I mentioned, amount of co-financing that they are putting in, and experience. It's at least 3 years, but suggestion would be more. And this request for experience is mostly to prevent from new things popping up just because there is money. That's not our goal. Our goal is to build sustainable ecosystem, and to build and help organizations that are in a long run, in a long game, that won't disappear in a moment when funding will disappear, for those that have been here with or without our funding. So that's one of the things that is in there, is that this event or activity should happen with or without our funding. It's just our funding helps it happen better. And just some examples, like those of you who are from Baltic region definitely know Textual Conference, and they are one of the beneficiaries with a full max amount, of course, because the budget is much bigger. There's Startup Barbecue, which is local networking event organized by Startup House Riga, Baltic VCA Summit. Also, those who are in Baltic BCC knows what the Baltic VCA Summit is. So this year it will happen in Riga. So we are co-funding that, co-financing that, and Latvian Startup Awards, and so on. But other examples from the other end, there is smaller, more niche activities, from meetups to hackathons, from those working with climate questions, AI, quantum technologies, you name it. So, and those supporting female founders. As you can see, like from a topics and from like different angles, we try to see that the portfolio for every year is filled with diverse activities that benefit in different angles of ecosystem, but not only focusing on one. So quickly about other programs, incubation and acceleration program. It's very straightforward, up to 40,000 for each program. Every year we fund 4 to 5 programs. This year was record application 12. That's why we are still reading it. So I can't tell how many we are supporting this year. But also there is quite diverse. There is, from last year, there is some that support student startups, some that's specifically focused on biotech, corporate incubation, and female-led companies. So as you can see, like the goal for incubation program is to create a first prototype, and the goal for acceleration program is to fundraise first investment. So we try to work on supporting early stage founders from the moment when they got the idea. So that was maybe a little bit coming back to the previous program, right, with hackathons and so on. And now with then next step, they can go to incubation program. Next step, they can go to acceleration program. Next step, they can attend community events. Next step, there are some events that are for example, VC in Town that's organized this year by Startup House. They can get and meet investors. So we try to as much cover all the bases, let's say, in a startup life. New program that we didn't manage to apply for this knowledge share because it was not there yet when that call was out. But this we implemented last year. It was quite the challenge in the making. But so last year we made a commitment to invest close to $500,000 for the next 36 months in a creation of a startup center, Startup House Riga. Won this open contest from 3 applicants. They were the one that had the best offer, and it's more than desk space and coffee. They come with mentoring, investor contacts, community, and on top of that, it's also is epicenter for startup action in Riga. So if you come to Riga, that's the place you will definitely visit. Quickly about the numbers. First year, it's 10 startups that are supported by our co-financing program. Next year it will be 15, and after next 15. So yes, totally of 40 startups for close to €500,000. And part of the financing they can use directly for startups, and part of financing for making that place better. This brings me to main takeaways, and I thought it's good to share like some things I have learned, because before working this government job, I have been in a startup ecosystem for 10 years and worked with the startups and ecosystem building and community building in Baltics for quite some time. And I'm what I usually say for community builders, that there is no ego in community building. And I would also say that about the ecosystem builders, that the best thing anyone can do is work together. And that also applies to those people who are policymakers, is when you talk with ecosystem, when you work with community members, when you get them involved, when one of your goals is transparency, that creates trust, and you stop competing about who is the smartest person in the room, and you start co-creating something important. Other is maybe more for ecosystems that don't have like unlimited amount of resources. Focus where your involvement has the biggest impact. We of course could give like this $500,000 for one company and pray that they are the ones that will become unicorn, but we choose to support those 40 startups and give bigger chance that one of them will do great things. And I would say in those activities there will never be instant gratification or instant result. So it's very hard maybe in public sector and also EU projects to think this way, but I think that's very necessary to think long term and to see the bigger picture, to think like what will happen in 5 to 10 years or even more, not what will happen after 1 or 2 years after we finish some project or after the program is in the making. So that would be it from me, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ieva. And I think now it's time for questions. I don't see any questions yet from our chat, but if you have any, please write it. But I have a question myself to start with. And you mentioned in your very clear and interesting presentations that one of the evaluation criteria you use is impact for the local startup ecosystem and impact for city of Riga. And I was wondering how actually you could measure the impact, because normal impact only appears it might appear only in many years in terms of startup creation, and it's easy to measure outputs like number of participants and so on. But perhaps you can elaborate a bit how you measure and take into account the potential impact.
You know, that's the same with the startups, and you know it better probably than me that there are startups who come to you and say like, I have this great idea that will be unicorn, and you kind of need to believe. And then you look at who is the founders, right? And look what is their idea and what is some other things that tells that. So that's a little bit similar in this case, right? We look at the organization that's been around 10 years. They have done successful programs. They have been participating in building those startups, if they come and say that, hey, this event can be like new event for us, but based on everything we know and based on our experience, this is what we think the impact will be, then that's putting the trust in them. And so that's why we look very much at the experience. And I mean, there are cases when you think that's very easy to write this blah, 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 impact will be that and that, but you would be surprised that some organizations actually fail in that, even the blah, blah, blah part. And let's say after you see like tens of those applications, you can a little bit see through already, like where it's like a little bit maybe bullshitting and where they actually mean it. So I don't have easy answer for you how to measure. And as I said, I hope after 5 or 10 years we will see like, oh, in this year we started the program, and then we see the impact, because the companies that will be born in the hackathon or that incubation program this year will be something after 5 years, right? And that will be the moment when we can say like, okay, something good happened 5 years ago, probably our program.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying this. And indeed, I think it's always a matter of believing and also some sort of gut feeling in terms of future impact, which we're speaking in 5 to 10 years perspective. But it seems that your support program is working relatively well, at least what you described. But I wanted to ask you if you are planning to make any changes or add any other new areas of support in coming years, or you will be continuing with the program as it is, or you are planning any changes or new developments?
So as I tried to mention very quickly, every year we need to renew the programs, right? That's just how they work. And in that moment, we ask ecosystem, like, is there something that we need to change or update or add? And every time there is something, like, for example, last year someone said like, for acceleration program, the period in which they need to fundraise the money is too short. So we added 12 months by suggestion of ecosystem, that we ask from them the KPIs 12 months later, because that's the period that they suggest that the results could be reached. Until now, the programs are mostly for local ecosystem players. We see starting from this year, there is interest from other, mostly Baltic, but also a little bit beyond. It's mostly like in collaboration with a local ecosystem to bring in new initiatives and new events, where the foreign entity would be the expert. So we need to see if, and talk with ecosystem, if that is something that we want to open the doors for, and if that would be beneficial for ecosystem. So that is the next thing that I know we have in a making to, are we specifying that it's okay to use expertise from a foreign entity that want to come and bring some event? Because again, we are interested in a long-term sustainable initiatives. So we are not interested in someone big name coming 1 year, putting together event, and it was like, yay, super, right? We want, if they come, that they stay for a long term, and that's kind of the decision that we need to make. And I mean, the Startup House program is from last year, like it's not even half year old, and to be honest, it was 3 years in the making. It was before even I joined the team, so it's still a public sector. It still takes some time. So right now we don't have any new programs, but with the successful visit to the Flush, I think we might put something similar together, more like those outbound activities where we bring good prospective startups and put them in front of investors where the investors are.
Okay, thank you so much, Ieva, for explaining and showcasing your good practice. And then I'm happy to hand it over back to Luc for introducing next speaker and topic.
Yeah, thank you, René. Very briefly, our next speaker is Vaiva from Lithuania, and she will introduce herself better than me. Another representative from Interreg Europe project, from the VIADUCT project. Vaiva, please.
Hello, I hope you can hear me well and see my screen.
All works. You can go on, Vaiva.
Yeah, that's great. So, good afternoon, everyone, again. I am honored to present Kaunas Science and Technology Park and share how our region is promoting dynamic entrepreneurial culture through initiatives like Kaunas Startup Awards. And I completely agree with Ieva's ideas and feedback and even recommendations, because I believe that our initiative is really complementing the statement, the approach that Ieva has stated in the presentation. So we believe in empowering startups through support programs, but also through recognition, visibility, and community. And the awards are really more than a ceremony. They are a strategic tool for strengthening all the ecosystem. So very briefly, where we come from. So we come from Kaunas. It's the second biggest city in Lithuania, but also it's one of the fastest growing innovation ecosystems in Baltics. And we are strategically located in the middle of Lithuania, and we have this developing and growing infrastructure, vibrant students population, as well as strong industrial heritage. So we have more than 35,000 of STEM students in our top universities. And overall, there are 7 universities in Kaunas city. Anyway, there are 3 major science and technology institutions that really help us to reach this, let's say, competitive advantage in technological and scientific sector. Kaunas has a big and noticeable number of research and development intensive companies, and especially we are focusing on medtech and IT fields that is a part of our smart specialization national strategy documents. But currently, emerging dual technologies are also very visible in Lithuania. And yeah, we really witnessed how over the past decade, our culture of collaboration and celebration unlocked these innovation sectors. Briefly analyzing our key strengths and weaknesses, probably our key strength and as well as probably weakness is that we have quite net tight ecosystem. Our city is around 30,000 of inhabitants, 300,000 of inhabitants. So universities in Kaunas region, startups, and also public institutions, business support organizations really collaborate closely to drive this innovation progress. And we also, due to that, we faced a little bit of the challenge to really gain the visibility at the international stage and securing early stage venture capital, maybe even bringing the commercialization gap between research and market. And despite the shortly introduced talent and innovation we see in our region, we also know that we have some kind of certain entrepreneurial modesty within us. So we have quite many brilliant founders, but many of them tend to understate their success, their contribution, and they try to avoid the spotlight. And probably this is the reason why Kaunas Startup Awards matter. They bring these entrepreneurs into focus, and just not for the recognition's sake alone, but also to bring and build the credibility, attract investors, and as well as to inspire a next wave of innovators. So we celebrate this Kaunas Startup Awards since 2005. So as also Ieva has mentioned, it's probably initiative that you need to be quite resistant and have the brave commitment to really go along in decades, not for months, for a year. So it started in 2005 with the simple idea that innovation deserves a real recognition. And Currently, the awards ceremony grown into central pillar Kaunas entrepreneurial ecosystem event, and it really goes beyond just an yearly and traditional event, but this event really seeks to identify and promote breakthrough innovations emerging from Kaunas, as well as to motivate and inspire entrepreneurs, and especially those who are transitioning from research, from universities to business companies, as well as involve broader public in the innovation journey and increasing awareness and potential, as well as need for the support. And also strengthen Kaunas city image as forward-looking, as a startup-friendly city. Talking about the process, it really follows a carefully designed and inclusive process that really reflects our collaborative nature of ecosystem itself. So the first step is nomination. So startups are nominated by ecosystem partners. So including our institution, Kaunas Science and Technology Park, but also municipality Kaunas and leading universities. And this really ensures that we introduce and seek for deeper collaboration between the existing ecosystem partners in Kaunas, but also we explore, have a possibility to deep dive and explore hidden innovations in Kaunas region, and really to try to find out different of channels and opportunities how to reach them. The second process is, second step is public and jury voting. And the public votes are collected through national media portal. This also helps to raise awareness and excitement. And at the same time, there is a jury of ecosystem leaders who evaluate startups based on the impact, innovation, and potential. And this dual structure combines the community voice as well as expert insights. And the final step is the award ceremony itself. The winners are announced at annual and live-streamed event that is hosted by Kaunas Science and Technology Park. And it's really a high-energy moment, and where recognition becomes a motivation for growth for the companies nominated, but also for the participants. We feature categories that reflect the diversity of our ecosystem, and from time to time we try to upgrade a little bit of the nominations, but the key nomination categories are Startup of the Year, so for the company who are the game changers, Rookie of the Year for the promising newcomers, Scale-up of the Year is for the growth champions, Deep Tech Startups of the Year for research-driven disruptors. And we also have a special award that has been introduced 2 years before. It's a Startup Ecosystem Hero, and this award, the special award, is recognizing individuals who are supporting the companies, innovators, early stage entrepreneurs behind the scenes. And in recent years, we have honored brilliant minds like Professor Arminas Ragauskas, who translated deep research into market-ready innovation. Also, Algirdas Stonys, a tech entrepreneur and business angel, supporting both Ukrainian and Lithuanian startups. And really, these heroes really matter to our community. They usually present themselves as quite humble, but they are making a huge impact in all the ecosystem, and also humanize the innovation journey and really inspire others to follow. And let me share some outcomes and probably so-called evidence of success. So each year we nominate more than 15 of startups that are being identified and promoted. So these 15 stories are being presented and spotlighted in the mass media channels, and award broadcasts reach 10 of thousands of community members, academia representatives, as well as investors. And the most powerfully, we catalyze the creation of spin-offs from local universities. These achievements really don't happen in isolation, and our role in VIADUCT Interreg Europe project has been a crucial reinforcement forced by fostered our attention to spin-off company creation, and Interreg Europe project VIADUCT stands for valorization of public research to drive technology transfer and commercialization through the creation of spin-offs, brings together 7 regions across Europe, including partners from France who noticed today sent hello in the chat, also Spain, Ireland, Finland, Romania, Italy, and of course Lithuania. And we are especially proud that this Kaunas Startup Awards were selected by project partners as one of the VIADUCT's highlighted good practices. And it really strengthened our focus on nominating spin-off companies, the research companies. And during the last years, we put our greater energy and effort to really find out these hidden potential that sometimes are in the university's labs. So we work closely with the media to give startups beyond the awards wall. And I added a video of translation in the platform of one of the mass media platforms, Delphi, where nominees are presented with the short videos, extract from the interviews and other features. And we are trying to tell stories that stick, spark conversation. And, oops, I'm not willing to share it. And yeah, maybe the final slide, why this does this matter? So ecosystem is not just on support mechanism, not on the funding, not only on the capital, but also on the entrepreneurial culture. And by making innovation visible and celebrated, we really support the inspiring environment that bold ideas can really grow. And this model is also scalable and transferable. We invite other regions to really adapt it, reshape it, co-create, and every idea has a chance to shine. And thank you for the opportunity to share our story and for being part of the movement. And it's really inspiring to hear Ieva's presentation and probably upcoming presentation, and see that we have quite a lot of similarities, and building community and strengthening communities probably the key aspects so far in our today's webinar and insights.
Thank
you,
you
Vaiva.
so much. Oh, go ahead, Luc.
Sorry, Ivan, I just want to mention very briefly, it was asked in the chat, people get the presentation, they will get automatically via email after the event with a link where they can get access to the event page. So the YouTube videos and so on people will find the links. Sorry, René, go on.
Yeah. What people, however, don't get this opportunity to ask questions afterwards, or they actually get, but it might take a much longer time. So take your chance now and ask anything you want from Vaiva. And while you're doing so, let me ask the first question from my side. Looking at your partners and founders of Kaunas Startup Award, it seems to be universities and science parks. So I was wondering if if the nominates and awards are only given to so-called deep tech startups, or you accept any startup from any field. And if you look back at the statistics, I think you have awarded now already almost 20 years this award. Has it been concentration in some areas like, I don't know, medical science or biotechnology, or have you covered very different areas across those 20 years?
Yes, thank you for the question. Really, our shareholders, as from the institutional level, is Ministry of Economy, and probably they are the ones who really inspired and, let's say, encourage us to take a lead in having such as Kaunas Startup Awards in 2005, and also our two shareholders, universities, that are really supporting us in this journey. So yes, the biggest part of the innovators come with a recommendation from universities, but also other ecosystem players. So everyone like Kaunas makerspace community too, because there are lots of enthusiasts who come after work and they are having such a hobbies from the different fields, and they create sometimes innovations that must be and can be visible and well recognized and attract funding. So these innovations come from really different fields. But we are limiting that the startups would be startups. So basically, they would fit these key criteria regarding the mature stage, their innovation potential, the solution background. So this is probably the core essence. And regarding the focus, we really do not have very specific criteria or limitations regarding that, but probably it happens very naturally that after certain attention from the government and the ministries and additional financial support and other mechanism, usually these startups are more successful, they are emerging, they receive greater attention and potential. So usually what is mentioned in the smart specialization strategy, probably it's the biggest number of startup ideas that usually are emerging during certain periods of time. So probably it's both sides process. When we have the huge support from the national and international business support institutions and communities. In that case, these sectors definitely emerge better and stronger.
Just a quick question of clarification. Is startup award just a handshake on the stage and diploma, or do you provide also some sort of additional possibilities like participation in incubation program, some sort of mentoring activities, or is it just one night, so to say, show?
No, and it happens very naturally. So some of the nominees comes from our community who have been part of our incubation program or acceleration program, and we see that they are developing really something inspiring, and that could be introduced into the startup awards. And sometimes we say for them, you must fill in the form and you must be nominated in this category. So some of you are already in the process of participating in the program. And some other companies are really emerging on the stage, but later on they really attract attention and attract attention from us as Kaunas Science and Technology Park. We have various of national and international opportunities and business support possibilities, but also they receive attention from Kaunas municipality, universities, also investors. So it's really more than a handshake. Even the handshake and this public recognition is also very important and very motivating for the startups.
Thank you so much, Vaiva. And then I think it's time for our third and last speaker.
Yes, thank you, René. So we moved from the east of Europe to the west of Europe, and I'm calling Mary from Ireland to take the stage and to present the Prep for Seed program. Mary, thank you for being with us. So we can see the presentation.
Mute, my apologies. Now I'm unmuted. Is that better?
No, it works fine. Go on, Mary.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to present the story, I suppose, from the west of Ireland, as you said. So my name is Mary Ryan. I'm Deputy CEO of WestBIC, and the BIC stands for Business Innovation Centre. So we work with high growth startups who we term in Ireland as HPSUs, high potential startups. So we deal with them because they have the potential to meet 3 criteria. I apologize if you can hear the sound outside my window. It's ice cream day in our building, which means that the ice cream man is pulling up outside. So apologies about that. The 3 criteria to meet to become a high potential startup is very much dictated by Ireland's government agency for startups, and that is Enterprise Ireland. And the criteria are as such: that within 3 to 4 years, the company will have the potential to employ 10 people, the potential to turn over €1 million, and very importantly, now I presume everybody on the call can appreciate this, very importantly for our region, which is in the west of Ireland, and Ireland is on the west of the European market, these companies must aim to become international. So they're the 3 criteria that decides whether a company is going to be a high potential startup or more of an indigenous type company. Okay, so moving on. Here we go. Okay, so basically, before I get into the program that I'm going to share with you today, just very briefly, this comes from WestBIC's involvement in UnicornQuest, and I know there's some people here on the call from that. So first of all, UnicornQuest, it's an Interreg Europe project aimed at building regional entrepreneurial ecosystems that foster, support, and attract high growth enterprises. It's achieved through enhanced policy improvement and learning from good practice. So I'm very happy today to be sharing the example of the good practice that we do as part of the Prep for Seed program. It's focused on attracting and securing investment for high growth enterprises to achieve their full potential. And in Ireland, a number of successful instruments used to assist HPSUs, or high potential startups, to secure seed funding and investment. And one of those instruments is Prep for Seed, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And Prep for Seed demonstrates successful results in achieving this goal, i.e. to get high growth entrepreneurs investment ready. So that is the focus of the program, to bring a company which has the potential to become a high potential startup and to attract investment in order to be able to fund this growth. Okay, so who are WestBIC? The BIC, as I said, stands for Business Innovation Centre, and there are 4 BICs in Ireland. WestBIC covers the area from Galway, which is that bottom county highlighted in blue, out into the Midlands of Ireland and up into the northern region. And there are 3 other BICs. I'm sure some of you have worked with some of those. Further is located in Dublin. Propeller is in our southwest region, located in Waterford, and Axis BIC is in, as such, our second capital in Cork. So WestBIC covers quite a large geographical area, but we're a very small team and we work with a small number of high potential startups. So we're more about quality rather than quantity. And we support clients throughout the company's life cycle. So from concept right through to commercialization, and indeed when they come back for follow-on rounds of funding. They're one of the longest established state-supported organisations, both in Ireland and I suspect across the EU. We were established in 1987, and we're part of the official EU Business and Innovation Centres for Ireland's border, Midlands and Western region. And just to explain for anyone that's not familiar with the European BIC network, there are over 150 similar BIC organizations throughout Europe. And we bring this to the benefit of companies, and this is very important for our peripheral region. So if we want to connect a company with markets in, let's say, Northern Italy or in part of Belgium, we link in with the local BIC in that region to start the introductory process. We provide tailored support to access national programs of support and private angel as well as VC investment. And we consult or provide skill set to drive their business to scale globally. So the companies we work with must be focused internationally. Now, internationally can be our neighbour, UK, it can be more across the mainland European markets, or the US is, or maybe one should say was, a very large market for Ireland, particularly for our medtech companies. Okay, so the program I'm going to give you today in terms of sharing this best practice is called the Irish BICS Prep for Seed. So we're preparing companies to get investment for their seed journey. But before I get into it, I just wanted to show you where it sits on our overall startup journey. So the arrow coming in here on the left is a company which may be at, basically concept stage, and it's right through, all the way through until they're seeking what could be follow-on funding. So the BIC supports them at a number of different touch points. First of all, this first one here, EIPSSF, it stands for Pre-Seed Start Fund. And this is a fund of up to 100k from the Irish state agency Enterprise Ireland. And we provide workshops in advance of that to prep companies to see if they're a good fit for it. Then we support them through the application process. If they're not suitable or don't qualify, we'll signpost them to other supports. And then they become the Irish BICS Pre-Seed Plus program, takes companies that have received pre-seed start funding and helps them to achieve what they said they'd set out to achieve as part of this 100k fund. And it's at this middle point here, the Irish BICS Prep for Seed program. This is where we select companies who have the potential to meet all the criteria to go global. But for whatever reason, they're not meeting their milestones, or maybe the one-man team or one-woman team is just not enough to get investor interest, or they just need some hand-holding. We place them on the Irish BICS Prep for Seed program. Now, this is very small in numbers as well. It typically attracts about 12 participants twice a year. So from our region, we will typically have 2, possibly 3, sometimes 4 companies sit on this program twice a year. And the objective is by the end of the program, they've become more investor attractive. They're more likely to receive the attention and indeed the funding of, it could be angels, it could be a VC fund, whatever it might be. And then they could move on to what we call, as I've described to you, the HPSU process, which is attracting that Enterprise Ireland state funding. So in Ireland, if you receive state funding, for example, you are looking for Enterprise Ireland or state funding of 250,000, you must match it privately. And that's what the Prep for Seed program aims to do. It aims to get you to attract the investors that will then match with the Enterprise Ireland, or rather Irish state support investment. And then you're on to scaling and follow-on funding. I won't go into any more detail, but it's just to show where the Prep for Seed program lies in our overall suite of supports. Okay, so I'll run through this very briefly. It's a 12-week, very intensive investor-ready program. It's delivered nationally, and we do it between the 4 Irish BICs, with one BIC at any one time taking the lead on the management of it. It's very much done in conjunction with and on behalf of Enterprise Ireland, the state, the premier state high potential startup funding organisation. Candidates are nominated and selected between the Irish BICs and Enterprise Ireland. So these are companies that we're already working with, and we know companies that could be a good fit for the programme, and we nominate those, and then they're selected by Enterprise Ireland. The selected startups participate in a total of 5 masterclasses, and they're delivered by the 4 BICs. They also benefit in between each masterclass from 6 tailored one-to-one sessions. So that's BIC consultant direct to individual companies. So you're addressing their particular needs and applying it to the content of the masterclass that they've just received. Companies are then brought through very intensive investor pitch preparation sessions. So we prepare their pitch deck with them. We drill them in order to be able to keep to time and keep to the important touch points as part of the investor pitch. And we put them in front of a number of trial pitches. And the idea being that the accumulation of the Prep for Seed program is a one-day investor day where we bring together quite a number of private angels. We work through the Halo Business Angel Network, a number of VCs, and the wider investment network. And we basically put these companies that are on Prep for Seed, 12, 13 of them, through a pitching session in front of these investors with the objective that will marry off some investors with these companies. Sometimes it happens on the day, sometimes it happens later on at lunchtime, sometimes it happens a week later, but we're already trying to get the attention of these investors. So the 5 masterclasses cover, you can imagine, some of the key touch points. The foundation of investor readiness, which is market validation and business planning. Now, all the time, all of these financial masterclasses are non-academic. They're very much applied, very practical. And post each masterclass with the one-to-ones, with their BIC consultant, we're saying, what are you doing to get this put into practice? How are you going to validate the market? All right, let's set out a plan. And similarly with the other masterclasses, which are on financial modeling, sales and marketing for investment, raising investment, and pitch preparation. And then one additional one, which we've added in quite recently, on company formation, company governance, fundamentals of governance, sustainability, and we also touch on IP and other regulatory aspects during this masterclass. So in between each masterclass is a one-to-one session. And this particular slide here shows you, if I have it all, and now I need to go back, it shows you the program set out over the 12 weeks. Now, one thing I should say is that in addition to the 5 masterclasses, which are highlighted there in blue, and in addition to the one-to-one sessions that are highlighted there, they're called one-to-one BIC review sessions. We start off by taking each of the 12 companies and we do a very deep dive on their needs. What are their specific needs? Where are their weak points? What will investors pick up on that need to be improved? And those needs are constantly being focused on as part of their program, particularly as part of the one-to-one. And then the last box there at the end, we finish off week 12 with the final one-to-one review session. And this what sets out, what they need to do to keep getting that investor attraction and then to go forward for the match state funding. So that gives you a sense of it. And this will be shared as part of the slides. It's been a very good model. We're on our 6th of these programs. We run them twice a year. We only select clients that need to be on this program in terms of attracting attention of investors and can benefit from it. So we're not bringing a client on board who's automatically going to get investor attention, nor are we bringing companies on board who are too early to attract investor attention. So far, the actual model is working really, really well with only a few minor tweaks. Okay, in terms of success rate, over the 5 programs, we're currently on our 6th one. The 66 participant companies have raised over 15.2 million. Now, you must appreciate that some of these companies have only just finished the program in Q3, Q4 24. So we've yet to see the investment that they realize. 84% or almost all of the companies received that pre-seed start fund, which is the 100k given by Enterprise Ireland, our state funding organisation. An additional 20 companies have gone to secure high potential startup, which means that they had to match the state funding with private investment. And 36% of companies have received private investment. And that is the end of my presentation. So I might stop sharing there so that if there's any questions, we can take them. I hope I stayed within reasonable time, Luc.
You most certainly did, and thank you so much for keeping the time. I have, while we're waiting, if there will be any other questions from the audience, just the question of clarification. Is the program participation in your accelerator, is it free of charge, or do you take some fee or equity or success fee or anything in return?
A very good question. The answer, no, because these companies are typically already clients of both WestBIC or the other 3 BICs or clients of Enterprise Ireland. So the support that the BICs provide to these high potential startups is through an SLA, a service level agreement that we have with Enterprise Ireland, in other words, with the Irish government. So the answer to your question, Renee, is no, we do not charge. But we do expect, and we set out from day one, we expect them to be fully, to get involved in the program. Okay. Because they're taking up a very valuable space. So they know that they have to be highly active and participating in the 12 weeks. That's the payoff.
And my second question was, as this is a national program, and I suppose it's open only to Irish startups. You cannot accept European or international startups to the program.
No, they must be Irish, to date anyway. But it doesn't mean that this program couldn't be rolled out as part of, it could be UnicornQuest, it could be some other EU initiative. But for the moment, it's supported, funded, and driven by Enterprise Ireland, which by their criteria, the majority of the company, the management, etc., must be based and founded from Ireland.
Well, good. Thank you so much for explaining this. If I don't see any other questions from the chat.
We have a question.
Oh, we have one.
Actually, yeah, it's a question from Christian.
If I understand, Christian wants to know, how do we motivate them? And Christian, first of all, it's very important to realize that we typically have a good history with these companies, and we're typically bringing a company on board who we know appreciates where they have to go to get the investment, because in many instances they may have failed to raise investment themselves. And so of the 12, 13 that we would have in a program, there's always one laggard. But we very much select based on the strength of the promoter. And then we do a lot of peer pressure, lots of workshops within the masterclasses. So if they haven't done their work, they very much are showing up. I hope that answers the question, Christian.
I hope so too. All right. And no further questions. Then I think, Luc, we have to now make a decision. We have foreseen a panel discussion. However, as we are a bit behind the schedule, I don't think we will be able to fit in the 20 minutes discussion, but perhaps we can shorten it to some of the key learnings and key takings from today's discussion, and then try to still close our webinar 5:30.
Yeah, René, let's do like this. We have to close sharp usually because people have follow-up meetings. We have prepared just two questions in Slido. My colleague Lotte just put in the chat the Slido where you can. She will share her screen. So we'll just ask the participants quickly to share a few words about what are your takeaways from the presentations. So just a few words. It will build up. Just put words into that. It will build a word cloud. Just that we can get a feeling from what you. What struck you most. So I see people start typing. Design planning, inspiration, practical insights, inspiration, collaboration. So we get back to the ecosystem aspects. Inspiration, that's which is emerging. a lot. Community building coming. We just let a few seconds. Let the final inputs coming in. But it's in this inspiration to me. It looks like it's the idea we wanted to convey with this webinar. Those practices which are aiming at fostering the entrepreneurship and private investments. Okay, thank you. So just joining. Inspiration, innovation. Yeah, thank you for your answers. Some immediate comments. Something that René, do you have some? Otherwise, we can move to the second poll. Maybe we can get back to the polls after.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move to the second poll. Lotte, maybe because the initiatives we were displaying aim at developing and venture capital equity investment in tech-based startups in different ways, by developing the community, by helping the companies to get ready for attracting this funding, but also by promoting the startups themselves. So we have different aspects. Would just like to ask the participants where do you see the main challenges in developing this private equity investments in technology-based startups? And obviously, you are welcome to refer to your own regions when you answer this question. So same procedure as for the first question, just some words that we can. So I see first participants are typing. And I would then maybe ask already the three speakers. I see you are here. You came back on screen. We'll ask you to react maybe on what will appear. So I would just, Lotte, ask you to keep the slide, your screen on here when the participants have. Just let them react in a few minutes. Trust.
Yeah, we can start actually. I mean, by asking our speakers, if you look back at your own programs which you presented and which have really been successful, if you have to name one key factor of success, what has made your program successful, what would it be? And we can see if it also relates with the cloud results. So if you think one key factor of success for your program, what would it be?
I'm happy to go ahead with that one, René.
Yeah, go ahead, Marie.
For us, I'm going to hark back to the fact that Ireland will be well recognised or well known for running a lot of programs. We have a good ecosystem, but from the beginning, we decided that Prep for Seed was going to be hugely practically based. So we were not going to let it become an academic exercise. And that brings on to this question that's in front of us here. Where do you see the main challenges in developing VC or getting investment? And one common thread from all of the investment community that we deal with is they want to see market validation. They want to see actual market validation, you know, taking it to the market, even if it's only at MVP stage, but how has the market reacted in real terms? So that would be one takeaway I would suggest.
This very well correlates with a picture on our screen as the first keyword is a market. Actually,
yeah.
Let me ask the same question from Ieva and Vaiva as well. If you look at your program and you have to mention one most important key factor of success, what would it be?
Maybe we'll go with that. it's interesting that one of the challenges is trust, and I would say, I think, as I said, one of the successes is trust, and I think it's something that you can cultivate. There is a ways to it, and especially if you are projects, and if you are like either government institutions or EU institutions or project institutions. I think showing that you are in it for a long term creates trust, because there is a lot of projects, as we know, that come for 2 years. As Renee mentioned, like, right, main KPIs is how many coffees were handed out and how many people came to event, and that's very tense. And I know in our region it's not such a big problem, but I had a chance to mentor some community organizations in other parts of Europe, and I know that there is a big problem of those kind of projects appearing, just using the money and disappearing. So I think showing that you are in a long term in it, and also for us who are maybe more on the other side, right, not in a community, just showing up, like not waiting for a red carpet or special invitation, but just if you know that there is a meetup, like just go for that meetup. And maybe once in a while, don't work 9 to 5, but go to that event at 6 and talk with the people, right? So I think showing up, as we say, is half of success, and it's also in this case like when people see you, like that's where you build the trust, and when they see you that you are there for a long run, it's also like build the trust. So I think that's my take.
Yes, thank you. And building the trust also very well correlates what other participants have mentioned in this cloud. And the last but not least, Vaiva, what would be your one key factor of success for the Kaunas Startup Awards?
Yes, thank you. I completely agree with Mary and Ieva's opinion, and I think the community, I will come back to it, because the community also builds when there is a trust existing between the community members, as well as startup companies, as also mentioned by Ieva, and we have also have this experience. So we look at investors and also jury members look at the company history, and it really is important factor internally and also externally. So having this trust and gaining the recognition is one of the important factors. And to attract venture capital or equity investment is a challenge, but when you have the trust, when you have the community, and there is certain values that you understand that you are having these core aspects you agree upon on, it's much easier to face all the existing challenges, because some of the aspects such as maybe even maturity or funding or understanding the technology is probably a little bit more of a technical side that of course requires some attention, but probably the core values are sometimes a bit more important.
Yeah. And I think if you bring here the third keyword, communities, and we have this holy trinity of community, market, and trust, which very well fit together, and which are certainly needed in the current world where we are living, where each of them is put under question and challenge. Having said that, I think I will turn now the floor back to Luc for the closing remarks, and then also hopefully we'll still be able to finish in time.
I will be short. Thank you, René, and a big thank you, of course, to our 3 speakers, Mary, Ieva, and Vaiva, representing 3 of the new projects running since 2023, I think. Yeah, and the new ones, let's say the first ones, and dedicated to the startups, the promoting and fostering startups and investments. And we've seen in also the audience, some other mentioned the project, so there are further projects working on it. I would just add to conclude by, in addition to the 3 key factors, we've also heard that it's it's a lot of work and time. You need to work on this over time, and it brings me to a quote from French Marcel Proust, a famous French writer, said there is no such thing as easy success or definitive failure. I think this is probably true for startups, but for policy making also. But here I think we have seen very promising initiatives. So thank you all for joining. Thank you also to all the attendants in the audience. So we are closing now. I mentioned it. Lotte wrote it in the chat. You will get informed when the article and the link to the recordings and the material is available. Before shutting down your computer, when we will be closing in a few seconds, you will also see a questionnaire, satisfaction questionnaire popping up. It's very fast, and I would kindly ask you to fill it in a few seconds before leaving us. And having said that, René and I are looking forward to meet you in further events, either online or hopefully also on site in the coming months and years. So we will for sure come back to the topics here, looking at its importance and the number of projects dealing with it. Thank you very much for today, and see you at a further event.
Thank you, everybody.
See
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.